Greetings and salutations, listener. It is I, Eric J. Chucky, joined, as always, by the boy.
Hey.
This is the Two Nerds Podcast, and today we're talking about wizards. Finally,
At long last.
we've gotten to the end of our D&D classes extravaganza. We will get to Artificer at a later date. And of course, I think probably once the new supplement drops, we'll go back and maybe catch up on some of the extra subclasses we didn't hit.
Yeah.
But I will continue to do so as time goes on. But I'm ready to talk about some Goliaths and Aasimar and so forth. So, wizard it is.
We'll never run out of shit to talk about when it comes to D&D.
Yep.
I'm going to keep it real with you, Chief.
We'll make shit up. That's fine. We used to be a big video game and wrestling channel, and now we're a big Dungeons and Dragons channel.
I feel like big is accurate for either one.
We're huge. We got viewers.
But again, we do appreciate everyone who is actually here.
We do, and I like it when you guys write comments in the comments below. And hey, it's been a long time since I actually did this in the actual show, but I don't know if you fucking noticed. We don't have any ads. We don't get paid for this. We just do this mostly because we like it. But if you guys are actually enjoying our content, there's a Patreon in the description, and then you could enjoy more of our content. And it's a weird trick, I know, but the more money you give us, the more time we have to create more content. So if you're into it, like for the price of a Frappuccino a month, you'd be helping some brothers out.
It has been a long time since you've done that on the podcast.
It has been. I've just been feeling the crunch lately.
Welp. Wizards.
Wizards. It's funny. I don't know if at the beginning of this series, but certainly about 2 years ago, maybe even a full year ago, I would have said that Wizards are the best class in 5e. I don't know that that's the case anymore. I don't know that there is a best class. I certainly have my favorites.
Yeah, I mean, same. In 3.5, Cleric and Druid were the best class, but Wizard was the most versatile. And Wizard could replace basically any other class if you give them a day or so. Once they got above, 5th level.
'Twas the bane of my roguish existence. Basically haven't played a rogue since. Except for 4th edition. That was okay.
But, 5th edition doesn't have that. 5th edition Wizard is good, but it's not the best. And in 4th edition Wizard was just for clearing ads.
Yeah. I think part of the reason I originally heralded 5th edition Wizard as the best class was because in core, it had the most options. And in that sense, it is the class who's gained the least subclass options.
Although it's gained quite a few.
Yeah, it has a couple. It has about half a dozen, I think, new options.
But it started off with a lot more than any other class.
8 total, I believe. If
for
the
each
magical
of the
thingy.
Yep. For each of the schools of magic. And I'm going to be honest, unlike some other classes we've spoken about recently, I have criticisms with 5th edition Wizard, and I actually haven't played one despite playing a lot of goddamn Wizards back in the day in earlier editions of D&D.
Well, you and I spoke about this, I believe in a more private context, but Sorcerer does a lot of what Wizard used to be capable of in 3rd edition, and that is micromanaging your action economy and tweaking your spells.
Yeah. And there are some Wizard subclasses which allow you to do that as well.
Yes.
But Sorcerer does it really well, and that's kind of what I always enjoyed about Wizard anyway.
Plus, you can cast healing spells and do that with Sorcerer, so...
You can with certain Wizards, too. But
not so much the tweaking.
Not so much the tweak. Basically, you have to make a choice. You can't do both.
Yeah, so with Sorcerer, with Divine Soul, you can do all 3.
Unlike some other classes that we talked about recently, one, I have nothing... There's basically nothing actually mechanically wrong with the Wizard chassis. And 2, they only really have one bad subclass. And it's not even bad, it's just surpassed by later versions of itself.
This is going to be an interesting conversation because I disagree, but we'll get there when we get there. Fun. Wizard wins in sheer spell versatility, even if it didn't have any subclasses. I don't have an eloquent way to say this without taking the time to count things that I don't feel like counting. But if your ass is on 5e tools, like I know a lot of our asses are, load up the cleric spell list, load up the druid spell list, load up the bard spell list, load up the ranger spell list, that'll take a lot less time, load up the warlock spell list, and then scroll through the behemoth that is the wizard spell list.
Sorcerer wizard spell list is top tier.
And sorcerer even has fewer than wizard does.
Yep.
So,
but wizard doesn't have all the sorcerer spells either,
no.
which is new.
Yeah, and I like that. I like that each of the classes has some really unique signature spells, like not a small amount, but not like a huge amount, that makes them feel special. I don't like it because I like a lot of the warlock spells, and
they're warlock
I don't
only.
want to play a warlock,
Yeah.
but it's cool still. I mean, fuck, there's a wizard subclass you could have given us. Evil.
Yeah, warlock wizard. Give me the warlock spells, but without
having to deal with
warlock.
Only being able to cast one spell every now and then.
But yeah,
a warlock can't have little a spell as a treat.
So the actual wizard spells, we don't go over the spells. There's just too many,
especially with wizard.
But the wizard spell chassis, the actual class beyond subclasses. What do you think about it?
There's almost nothing there.
Yeah, it is the most skeletal, I think.
Yeah. Your wizard, although unlike your other characters, even your other spellcasters, what your wizard does is defined by your spell choices far more than it is your subclass choice or your core class.
Yeah, and you're encouraged through various means to pick spells that fit your subclass, but you don't gotta.
No, you certainly don't. There were a couple times when I was looking at some of these subclasses and was like, they're called arcane traditions, by the way. I was like, well, I mean, that's great, but only if you pick those spells. Well, dummy, if I'm picking this subclass, I'm probably going to pick those spells.
That's how that works, yes.
Yep, it sure is. So,
But yeah, it is by itself the most skeletal. It has next to no class features of its very own until you get to very high levels.
And even then, those class features are just, here, have some more spells. And
have some more spells, have some spells you can cast more often.
Specifically like spell mastery and signature spells, which give you some extra spells to cast. And signature spells, especially as a capstone, is a little weak.
I agree. Why is it only once? Like, for power reasons, I get it, but like, I also don't, because at 20th level, not that anyone's ever going to get there, but at 20th level, the amount of damage you can put out with like a 3rd level spell slot is roughly equivalent to what the fighter's doing every round. So...
Well, I don't know if it's damage. I think it's more like...
fly
the
and shit
kind of
like
world-breaking shit you can do, especially with later level spells.
Well, the signature spells are only like 3rd level.
Right. But if you were to tweak that and make it a little more powerful, give them access to something greater, that's when shit starts going off the rails.
For me, I would just prefer it if it were like, maybe, although, again, short rests are kind of a problematic mechanic, maybe make it once a short rest instead of once a long rest.
Or just give us a bigger spell list. Make Wizard the Ubercaster and just give them more.
I mean, I'm not going to
spells
bitch
per
about
day.
that.
Yeah.
But the capstone is a little but the rest of the class is so good because it has access to all those spells, it has the best spells, and it has far and away the most versatility in spells.
Right. That's
because,
true.
Well, I guess Cleric matches it for daily beats it for daily adjustability because they have access to their whole spell list at all times.
But they have like access to a 1/3 of the total spells.
Which roughly evens out to, if your wizard is getting a lot of spells from the DM beyond what they get from leveling up, about the same total number of spells accessible.
Yeah.
If a wizard was somehow able to get access to their entire spell list, hoo boy.
And I think that's a fun mechanic for a wizard because it's basically a built-in driver. If your wizard cares at all about having more than the default spells allotted to you, then you've got something to do in town.
You have something to do in town, you have a reason to be adventuring, you have a reason to spend all your gold,
Yep.
Which high-level D&D players have money for nothing as a problem, just kind of in general.
Especially without the purchase of magic items.
And a high-level wizard absolutely would not. If they have access to someone who's willing to trade gold for spells, guess what?
Yep.
But
so I mean that's about all there is to say about the core, really.
Yeah, there's not really much there. One small note: we there's in the recent Unearthed Arcana, Sorcerer got an option which allowed them to change one of their spells per day. And I was a little butthurt about it as an old school Wizard player because it kind of felt like Sorcerer was stepping in on Wizard turf, and Wizards, the class itself has so little. But then I saw what Wizard got in the exact same Unearthed Arcana, which is they get to change one of their cantrips a day. Fair, all right, both are fair now.
Yeah. I think Artificers have that after a certain point.
Yeah, it's one of their features, I think.
But, I mean, it's cool. And it's a cool thing for a wizard to have, Most other classes stuck with their cantrips forever, So that's
Wizard,
nope,
once a day, we'll just trade it out. Today I can't cast Toll the Dead or whatever. Today I can cast... I don't remember any cantrips at the moment. Move on.
Prestidigitation.
Like I'd ever trade out Prestidigitation.
Did I switch the consonants in that?
You did.
How did I do that?
You did a lot with that. All right, subclasses.
Am I drunk?
No. Subclasses.
Subclasses.
We got a lot to go over.
Well, yeah, we do, but there's not a lot to say about them for the most part. But that doesn't mean this podcast won't be an hour. Abjuration.
Yeah, that's a defense boy.
That's the defense boy. Really cool. Resistance to all damage at level 14. That's nice. There you go. You're good.
Resistance to all damage, and it should be noted, like magic resistance too, like resistance to spell effects.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. They're really, I wouldn't say tanky, but they're survivable. Like you could play an abjuration wizard, not take a single fucking abjuration spell, and just run off of whatever the hell else you want, and just be like, oh yeah, I will live through this battle.
You wanna have a couple abjuration spells just so you can top off your ward.
Yes, I agree with that, but
But I mean, they're just good.
Yeah.
But a lot of these aren't super bombastic. They're just really good at playing into whatever that school of magic is good at, which is kind of what you expect.
Not to be too oblique, but abjuration wizards. Their core mechanic is they can throw up a little arcane ward as a shield that basically gives them temporary HP that isn't temporary HP that will eat up damage they take.
Yep.
And that's cool because that it is specifically not temporary HP means you can have temp HP and your little shield.
Yeah, it is specifically a shield to damage, not temp HP.
Yeah, and then you can move that to other people.
Which means it stacks.
Yeah, it stacks up. Real nice. All around, just solid wizard.
Solid way to start off. Next?
Next is the pre-Artificer class version of the Artificer.
It is, and that's pretty much exactly what it is. It is Artificer if you take out some of the tankiness and skills that Artificer has, and instead trade it in for wizard spells. I mean, that's a pretty fair trade.
Sure, yeah, I agree. It's really which slice you'd like. I wonder how balanced it is. I'd have to really go in and look at what an Artificer
the final Artificer class, and when we get to Artificer, we're going to have this discussion of there being 9 versions of the damn class. The final Artificer class is the most balanced version of this. This version is probably not very well balanced, just given how many iterations it's had.
I would have to guess it's overtuned.
I would say probably, yeah.
But yeah, it lets you make potions, lets you scribe scrolls, lets you make enchanted items. Trying to recapture a lot of that, what a 3rd edition wizard does with their experience flair.
Yep.
But that brings us to Bladesinger.
Yeah, Bladesinger. This is the Arcane Warrior from Dragon Age.
It's a proper battle mage.
Right down to being elves only.
Well, yeah. I don't know that I would.
I would never enforce that. No. But yeah, it is an Arcane Warrior. If Eldritch Knight is the fighter with wizard sauce, Bladesinger is the wizard with fighter sauce.
Yep. And it's about that simple. You get bonuses to your damage. You get bonuses to...
I really fucking like it, just so we're clear.
Yeah, me too. Same.
You're kind of low on hit points because you are a wizard, but the Bladesinger stuff that you get is really good. Like, you can have, if you have a decent dex as a wizard and you have mage armor, which you can stack with the Bladesinger bonus, you can have, a 23 AC. In 5th edition, that's scary good.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Anything else to say about it?
I really like it. It's a really fun. It gives me fun ideas for characters, but it isn't something I would play. It isn't something I would play as a wizard. If I were making a Blade Singer, I would be making a Blade Singer.
Right, I agree with that. It does kind of stick out from everything else. So does another class coming up here, but it'll be a moment.
This wouldn't be the guy who walks around in his robe and wizard's hat. I'll put it like that.
Yes, you're going for a very specific trope. Conjuration wizards are 9 levels of dicking around as a nothing wizard until you get to 10th level.
That first level feature's fun.
It's neat, but it doesn't really...
It's not as powerful. No. It is a little undertuned until you get to 10th level, at which point it becomes fine. It's fine.
So the balance shifts back in. 10th level, you get Focus Conjuration, which means you can't lose concentration or Focus Conjuration. Maybe I am drunk. You can't lose concentration on your spells, your conjuration spells, due to damage.
That's... speaking as someone who has DM'd high-level D&D, that's horrifying.
High-level D&D or not, the game comes down to action economy. Whichever side has more people to do things wins. Now, it's not hard-pressed, definitely going to happen that way, but, you have the advantage.
You have the advantage, and being able to just hold concentration on spells regardless of what happens. Conjuration spells, especially... You can really shift the tide of battle with that. And one of the best ways as a DM, if the enemy the players are fighting is smart, to balance that out is to have them immediately try and gank the wizard.
Yeah, lose concentration, and then all of those horrible swarms of fairy bats are gone.
We can't do that anymore. What do you do now? Hot shot.
What do you do at 14th level when each of those fairy bats has 30 temp HP?
Oh, good. This is the section of wizard that is fucking shepherd circle druid. We're back to this bullshit.
I am still kind of... I wish there were a class, and I will probably homebrew one eventually, that were more of the Final Fantasy style summoner.
You always, every edition of D&D... You mentioned this.
I think it's a neat concept, and, it's not like Final Fantasy is this unknown thing.
No, but it's very Japanese.
Sure, but it's still just having a buddy. I mean, think of it like the WoW Warlock, for that matter. You've got a buddy, and your buddy is going to do the shit.
That's not really a Final Fantasy summoner for me. A Final Fantasy summoner for me is someone who, that's their thing. Every turn they summon the thing, and it does a thing, and then that thing fucks off.
I suppose in that traditional sense, yeah, that there's a couple of games where it's a little bit more about this is my partnered summon. Especially the MMO, they have more of a partnered summon. So, really, that Conjuration Wizard, you could play like a Final Fantasy summoner. Instead of summoning X number of creatures, you just summon the one big one. Hello, I am Veilstaff, the Conjuration Wizard, and this is my Ifrit.
I have him. He's my Ifrit. There are many like him, but this one is mine.
I just gave him 1,000 gold to beat your ass. Let's get nuts.
God. Alright, but pulling back, imagine the swag of that. You're in intense, deadly combat with some dude, and some guy's he just whistles up a fucking demon, and he's hands him a sack of gold, kick this fucker's ass. And the dude just tips his imaginary fedora and slams one fist into the other and begins marching towards you. And DMX starts playing.
Conjuration Wizard is tight. Especially if you get to those higher levels, that's good shit.
It's undertuned until 10th level, and then it's fine.
Yeah, and then it's fine. Divination Wizard is next up.
Portent is great. I have played with the Divination Wizard. Portent is excellent. It is... I get vicarious wizard... wizard victory from watching her go, and here's the spell, and their save is a 1, so they fail.
Smug look on her face is always delightful and frustrating as the DM.
I get vicarious, yes, that's good wizarding.
Yeah, I like Divination Wizard a lot. I would be remiss if I didn't mention the Lucky Halfling Divination Wizard.
Yeah, just screw you. Screw you, failure.
I'm sorry. You wanted to roll dice?
No.
Mr. DM?
No.
Well, I'm here to help you. Roll more dice.
It's very fun. The feature where they get essentially they get a discount on the spell slot cost of divination spells is pretty fun.
I mean, all the classes get. Oh, well, most of them do. The
Not
traditional...
not the inscribing into the book. Like
yeah,
it costs them less magical energy to cast divination spells.
Yeah, they get refunds.
They can reimburse. They can get reimbursements.
It's a neat effect. It's a little harder to pull off than you'd think because there's not that many divination spells at like middle levels, but it's still cool.
Like, yeah, this is one of those things that I think would be really... Divination Wizard would be better, a lot better if True Strike weren't garbage.
Sure.
I'm pretty sure True Strike is a divination spell, so it would be way better if True Strike weren't garbage, to be perfectly frank.
I've actually been thinking of sitting down and writing out spell cards for some of our spell fuck-ups and also fixing True Strike. Mm-hmm. And just running with those as like an option. Like Shiraz Silence or
in the same way you get like Bigby's Hand, you know?
Sure, yeah. Which is something they encourage in the books. I mean, there's nothing wrong. I would put Lincoln's Haste at a higher level.
Same.
But Shiraz Silence probably bump it up to level 3. You know, it's not a huge deal. But yeah. For those of you who don't know me personally, I thought Silence could be cast on an object that would move. Not the case. And
we've been doing haste wrong.
We've just been doing haste. We're just giving him a regular action.
Instead of an action you can only use to make one attack, he was using it to make both his high-level ranger attacks. Ooh.
Which explains a little bit of why he became a fucking railgun.
I mean, he's still gonna be.
He's still gonna be good.
Of
just like 25% as good. Like, you know,
25%. Yeah, 75% is good. Next one.
Yeah, let's keep rolling along. Oh, the third eye that Divination Wizards get is kind of cool too.
It is kind of cool. You do a lot of really good shit with it, but that's very much on your DM. To make advantage of.
But it can come in handy, and like it's one of those things where if you as a player can read your DM and know, okay, knowing where invisible shit is would be really handy for this campaign, or being able to read any language, you know.
Yeah, it's one of those features that's good, but only if your DM turns into the skid and lets it be good.
Sure. Or if you scout your target.
If you know your fucking audience, yeah.
Ah, yes, the man who sends invisible assassins after us all the time to surprise us when he gives us a magic item that's too bad. Not anymore. Enchantment Wizard. If I ever wanted to use the charmed feature, the status at all, I would do it with an Enchantment Wizard.
I think the charm status in 5th edition could do with some fixing, but its power is so bound up in the shit I don't like about it that you can't. Enchantment Wizard fixes that, and I like that.
It does, at a high level. And honestly, like...
Illusion also does later.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. So basically, with most charm spells and enchantment effects in general, your target knows what you did afterward.
Like, the spell runs out and they go, "Hey, you cast this charm spell on me, motherfucker!"
Well, they're not necessarily going to be upset, but like...
But like, if you use the charm spell for anything you would use a charm spell for, they're going to be upset.
You'd have to... I wouldn't run an enchantment wizard. Like, the moral gray area of it aside, I wouldn't run an enchantment wizard in any campaign that wasn't, like, super social. Like, and that the DM was very into that. Like, because you could play an enchantment wizard like your traditional literary vampires.
That's fair. For me, it's actually the opposite. I really wouldn't run an enchantment. I really wouldn't use a lot of enchantment magic, because even an enchantment wizard, you don't get the thing that fixes that mechanic till like 14th level.
Right.
I wouldn't run one in any campaign that wasn't very not social.
Yeah, I can see you using it as like a purely combat application, and that would be the way to do it. I'm just not that enamored of it.
A purely combat application and in a very lightly social game, you know, where it's very traditional kick in the door D&D. We go into town, I charm the shopkeeper, I get good prices, I leave, I never see that town again.
Sure.
Like, that's where I would use Enchantment Wizard, because if it is more social, if it is a lot more social, I'm probably going to have to talk to that guy again, and he's going to be pissed at me.
Well, like, in the logical sense, you know, in the least social sense, it's a decent status effect. I just don't care for it. The same way as Fear. It's okay. I'm just not a big fan.
You prefer hardest CC. reduce the enemy's hit point stat to 0.
Or even, like, restraining them, or...
Restrained is good.
Other shit like that. I'd grapple a motherfucker before I'd bother charming them.
That's fair.
It's not bad. For me personally,
it's not
I'm like...
your bad.
Is that all I'm doing?
I mean, same. Okay. I'm not really a huge fan of it either, but it's not the subclasses.
No. I think I can see a person. I can see a build for an enchantment wizard of somebody in combat who is a nightmare because they're going, all right, and now these two enemies aren't fighting anymore.
Or one feature they get, which is actually really cool, which is so long as you're in the thick of it and around more than one enemy, if someone tries to attack you, you just go, no, you attack Bill. And you can do that every turn until they pass the save.
Yeah, they're pretty handy.
Now you keep attacking Bill. You stab your friend. You stab your friend. You don't want to stab me. And until they pass your spell save, you can just do that. And even once they do, that just means you start doing it to Bill.
So let's roll into Evocation. What are your thoughts on Evocation Wizards? You've run one.
It's boom. Bomb and boom.
I thought they were a little undertuned.
They're undertuned solely in comparison to later subclasses. And that's just 5th edition in general. Yeah. The PHB subclasses are undertuned compared to later ones, sort of in general. I like them. I like their Capstone Overchannel is very cool.
Yeah, it's neat.
I like that the Capstone Wizard comes at like 14th level, the subclass ultimate feature, as it were.
Too. Yeah.
The actual 20th level Capstone is where it usually is, but again, it's meh. But like,
let's be real. Your Capstone of Wizard is I have 9th level spell.
Yeah.
And you get that at 17. So
that's that's I have a 9th level spell. Start shit with me.
I had a 7th level spell last time we played, and I was gonna wreck some house with it. So
But yeah, Brain. There we go. I really like it. Its Sculpt spell is really nice. It gives you some of that old school wizard, meta magic feel. Mm-hmm. And it also allows you to fireball the melee casters without having to worry.
I mean, they're going to take some damage.
No, they're not.
Oh, is that... did I read that wrong?
They pass their save, and if they would take half damage...
Oh, it gives them evasion. Okay.
I think.
Let's double check. Sculpt
and
spells.
They take no damage if they would normally take half damage on a successful save.
Okay.
It gives the people you choose evasion, and they automatically succeed on their save. So they just take no damage.
Okay.
It allows you to fireball the... It allows you to fireball the fighter.
What a weird way to bother putting that.
I mean, yes.
Like, I understand it from a mechanical crunch writing level until you didn't need to do that.
Basically, it's... there are some spells which don't save for half damage.
Well, okay, you can make pockets within your spells up to X creatures in your spell's range are not targeted by your spells.
Well, that's the thing. They are. That's why it's written that way. Because there are some spells that are save, but not save for half damage.
Right.
They do the damage, and the save is for something else. Like it's damage, and then they're blinded.
Sure, but if they're not targeted by the spell,
right? But that's more powerful. Because in that situation, as written, they would take the damage, they just wouldn't be blinded. Because you only take no damage if you would take half damage on a successful save. So, like, if there's a spell that is like Fireball, you save for half damage, you take no damage. But if there's a spell that does all the damage and you save versus blindness, you take all the damage, but you're not blind. That's what that is meant to do.
I would rather have the more powerful one. And honestly, I would say Evocation Wizard kind of needs it.
It's undertuned compared to later ones. If I was tuning it up, that's exactly what I would change.
I mean, part of it, I would also maybe give them more damage. Earlier. Like, as much
I would give them Potent Cantrip later. Or earlier, rather.
Sure.
But yeah, no, I would switch Potent Cantrip and Sculpt Spell.
Yeah.
Because they get that at 2nd level, and you don't really have to worry about that until you're casting 3rd level spells anyway. But yeah, no, I like it a lot. It could use a little tune up.
I mean, it's
not that much.
It's not shitty. It's just like this could be better.
It is early 5.8.
Yeah, it suffers more than a lot of its fellows.
I still like it quite a bit.
Sure, yeah, I played one briefly and I had no problem with it. Again, most of Wizard is your spell choice.
Yeah.
So, let's go to Illusion Wizard. This water, man. Did you put the vodka in here?
No.
Okay.
Did you?
I'll never tell.
But, yeah, Illusion Wizard. This is fun. I don't like their top level feature.
I like their top level feature and which is Illusory Reality and Illusory Step, which I believe is like 14th level or something. I think those are neat, but they're not like the rest of it is just your illusions aren't shitty.
Yeah, Illusory Step is good. It's just fun.
It basically lets
you... It's the Sub-Zero Ice Clone.
Yeah, you can just go, you thought you hit me, but it's just my clone.
Which is, it's the Loki trick, basically. Will you ever not fall for that? And no, the answer is no. But
Illusion Savant, Improved Minor Illusion, Malleable Illusions, or Illusion Savant's fine. It's just copying spells.
Malleable Illusion is written very fucking weird.
Illusions in general are kind of fucking weird. Like, I feel like the entire mainline illusion spellcasting thingy suffers more from early 5e than anything the fuck else.
They were very reluctant to let illusions have noticeable impacts on things unless you really thought outside the box, and that's why the illusion wizard has to spend like the first 10 levels just making your illusions not suck.
Yeah,
honestly, it is probably the only one I would consider like genuinely meh, genuinely not very good. I was thinking of, the one bad one earlier as Invention, which is later, which is just like kind of a very early thrown at the wall concept that they split off into two better made things later. But genuinely, I think it might be Illusion actually.
Because your core spells are already kind of shitty, and the things that they do to make them a little bit better are only a little bit better. I mean, it's not... I've played with a bunch of spellcasters. Most people I know don't take illusions because they have had no mechanical incentive for years, for editions now, to make the illusions work.
Basically, yeah. And Illusory Reality, I don't like that capstone.
I don't know if it's a good capstone. I think it's a good 14th level. I think Illusory Step's a good 6th level.
I just don't like, for a 14th level feature for the arcane tradition, as it were, it's just, you can make a shadow bridge. Okay.
Yeah, like, for 14th level, it's garbage.
Yeah.
But, like, throw it back at 6th level, that's really cool.
Yeah, but then you'd have to buff up, like, one of the later ones to make that worth being 14th.
You mean you'd have to put something else in there?
Yeah.
Just entirely.
But, like, it's just... this actually, it more suffers from not any inherent problem with the arcane tradition as it is an arcane tradition for an inherently problematic spell school.
I think the school of illusion suffers more from the grognardism than anything else in Dungeons and Dragons.
I don't know that that's true, but it does certainly suffer.
It's up there. I mean, maybe there's something else that I'm not thinking of. Maybe they put Thaco back in when I wasn't looking. It seems to be built to be the purview of quirky gnomes and, weird bards who are looking to play some tricks and trying to help in the battle, but not really. I don't know.
To be fair, we've had a bard who's used illusion stuff to great effect.
Sure, but you play ball.
Yeah, because I'm not an asshole.
Right, but there is zero incentive for your DM to play ball with the illusions. Like, mechanically speaking, none. And it doesn't even really give you as a DM a good guideline of how should this shit work.
It's iffy.
Yeah. I mean, if I had an illusion caster in my campaign, I'd do my best with it. I'd want to, party with them. Obviously, I don't give too much of a shit about people being overpowered, as I probably should have been looking into haste like half a year ago. But it is what it is. But, it's not well designed. And it doesn't... It's barely designed. It's basically a spell that says you make a thing that isn't real, and it probably doesn't help much.
That last thing was funny, but... the thing is, I kind of like that level of freedom.
I'm cool with the freedom, just like, these guys must make a wisdom save, or they think it's real, or something like that.
Something like that.
Just so fucking simple.
But moving on, I think.
Yeah, we could bitch about the school for a while. Let's roll through to Invention.
This is like a big pot cauldron of really good ideas that don't fucking fit together.
I want to say this is one of the first subclasses, like a Unearthed Arcana subclasses.
Like, it's fluff, really good idea. It's first couple features really fucking fun and really cool, and the later features really cool and a little undertuned, and later versions tune them up a little better. And then none of them fit together.
No,
none of them fit together at all.
Look, I'll give you the short version. Someone wanted to play Iron Man.
But not. That's the thing. But not Iron Man. They wanted to play someone with magical armor, yes, but nothing else that wizard does is anything close to Iron Man.
It's, honestly, I said Iron Man, and then I immediately remembered there is some kind of weird fucking gnome species that has magical battle armor that works exactly like this. It's in some D&D, I believe it is D&D adjacent property of stories or something, and they have these weird tinker gnomes in weird battle armor.
It's that.
And that's what that is.
Which explains why it's so higgledy-piggledy and doesn't fit together at all.
Usually we try to avoid, talking about the ones that are obvious prototypes, like the Artificer, but it was worth mentioning. If someone came to my table and said, hey, I want to play Artificer subclass Wizard, again, I'd want to look at the balance first before we committed to it, but I have no problem with that. If someone came to my table and said, hey, I want to play an Invention Wizard, okay.
They could want to play it just for the core feature.
Yeah, sure.
Just for reckless casting. That's really fun. It's a really cool thing.
Fuck it.
It's a better version of Chaos Sorcerer, I'm just saying. Of Wild Magic Sorcerer. But it's a really fun feature. It just... Boy, howdy, is it adrift among a sea of other also good but not fitting class features.
I don't hate it. It's
Me neither. Not at all. It's really fun. It's just not thematically.
It's in the opposite direction of the Blade Singer. You are going to be playing a specific fucking character.
Yeah, you are. You are playing that guy. You are playing a gnome. You are playing a gnome.
Or Arcane Tony Stark. Of someone committed to be Iron Man.
Arcane kind of incompetent Tony Stark.
Well, there's that
old... Arcane Tony Stank.
There's that old fantasy adage that magic and technology don't go too well together. So, Arcane Tony Stark stuck in that world. I'm doing my best here. Pew!
So, next?
Yes, next.
Lore Wizard. Where they took a big fucking bite out of Invention Wizard, made it good, and then swapped out other shit that also fits with the rest of those features.
This was my favorite metamagic shit from 3rd edition, was swapping out damage types for spells. The first time I dropped an acid ball on a motherfucker,
this is really fucking cool.
It's so cool, and I love...
This might be the... this is... in the vein of certain artists, there is blackest black, there is pinkest pink. This is wizardest wizard, I think.
It is. That rhymed. I don't know if you meant to do that, but really hit the rock. Thank you. That was lyrics, dude. Yeah, you can do quick swaps for your spells.
This isn't the action economy management side of metamagic, but it is the very esotericist fucking lore master side of metamagic, of tailoring your spells just like a pastry chef.
Yeah.
Just putting that perfect little dollop of tempered chocolate right on top of your little pastry. Only instead of that, it's, oh, I see. Well, I'll just carefully construct the spell to fuck you specifically in the mouth.
One of the other core features of the Lore Mastery Wizard is you can change out what kind of saving throw the target is making to your spells. So, and I love that they mention ideas for what to do with that. Okay, I want to drop a fireball, but I want it to be a con save. Maybe it's a big glob of molten earth.
I want to drop Disintegrate, but I want it to be a charisma save. Well, instead of being a little ray that they're dodging out of the way of, maybe it's just like a big green field of energy that you're throwing at them, and they have to push back.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, you can come up with all kinds of cool shit, and maybe you encourage their soul to leave their body violently.
Yeah. It's still a green beam, but instead of casting Disintegrate, you're casting Avada Kedavra.
Yes. Yeah, I'm a fan of Lore Mastery.
Same. This is Wizard is Wizard. This is... You can't get a more wizardy wizard than this in terms of 5th edition, and I fucking love this thing. It is so well made. The theming fits. It's well balanced. Chef kiss, honestly.
So now we get to Necromancer, and this was my... I don't think this class is very good.
I like Necromancer. It's, again, it is early 5e undertuned, and I'm not going to try and dispute that. But aside from that, I like it just fine.
The second level feature is okay, but otherwise it's just kind of like, have another zombie. And I like the idea of wresting control of the undead. That's a fine class feature, but you get it so far. It's your 14th level. Like,
it would have been really useful in in a game that we played very recently. Imagine if you guys had a Necromancer in your party, and you fight the Undead King. No, shut up, behave, and then he just had to. Yeah,
sure, that would be really cool. I'm glad we don't have a Necromancer in our party because I've got an Undead T-Rex
that you need.
I don't want you guys to just go, stop, get help.
But yeah, it's one of those ones. It's undertuned early 5e, so you could tune it up a little bit. Also, much like Illusion, although to a much lesser extent, you kind of got to play ball.
Well, and I think that's part of it too. Is that this is the issue? It's similar to Illusion. You're not wrong. But like a lot of necromancy spells are fine.
Yeah, they're great.
The damage necromancy spells are fine.
Super good.
It's the I have zombies now necromancy spells that are shit.
Well, they suffer from being summoning spells in 5e that aren't druid spells, so they're shit.
Yeah, I mean, it's all the fun of summoning with none of the fun of doing anything after you've summoned them.
Yep.
And the necromancer kind of caters more toward that part of it. And
I don't know if that's true. Like, because they also get resistances to necromancy.
Sure.
And crucially, their hit point maximum being unable to be reduced is very useful against high CR undead.
That is true.
A lot of them do that.
And that's, again, kind of a weird... Your necromancer is for fighting zombies?
Yeah, he's a master of zombies.
I mean, sure.
That's the Anita Blake necromancer. You kill undead.
You know, that's fair. And I guess in that sense, I would have rather have had 3 different necromancers.
That's a lot. I don't think that's
Well, not in the core book, but like, I would have rather they gave us the one version first.
Much like Diablo. You'd rather have the necromancer who focuses on damage, the necromancer who focuses on minions, and the necromancer who focuses on... no, fuck undead specifically.
Yeah. And we've had similar stuff like that in the past. The true necromancer, as they called it in 3rd edition, who is a part cleric, part wizard. I don't see why we couldn't do that.
I mean, same, really. It'd be fine. I like necromancer just fine. It's never going to be my favorite, but it's a fine chassis for making a necromancer.
I mean, I guess it's like as the goth kid that I was, as the teenager who never actually ended up playing a necromancer for more than like a session, I see it and I go... I'd love to play a necromancer, and then I look at the stuff I'm going to get up to like 10th level and go,
never mind.
Nah, never mind. I have druids who are better necromancers.
I think honestly, what you want isn't different subclasses. You want a necromancer class with different subclasses. That's not a bad idea. Because what necromancer here is it is an arcane tradition. You are still a wizard. First.
You're like the necromancers in Elder Scrolls where you actually don't do anything with zombies and just throw elemental spells. Yep. But there's a skull on your shirt.
But you're a wizard first. What you are talking about wanting is clearly a necromancer class.
And I think that's a fair assessment. I think you're absolutely right.
With like a bespoke core feature that raises undead that are better.
Yeah, that'd be great. Custom spells, maybe. That are just similar like the druid ones and go, zombies.
Maybe just grab all the necromancy spells from all the different lists and just give them all of them.
Sure, that'd be cool.
But next idea, I think.
Yeah, let's go into this. I love onomancy.
Same. All right. So real talk, listener. True names and the true names of things is a concept in Magic that I have been in love with since I was like 10. The Wizard of Earthsea series is where I first encountered it. Ursula Le Guin introduced that concept to me, and I have loved it ever since. It's one of the reasons, I'm convinced it's one of the reasons that I got into the Dresden Files enough to really love it in the first place, was that they introduced that concept real early. I love, in my D&D world, I have that. I've stolen bits of true naming magic from basically every fictional thing I've ever loved. And it's true naming magic and the importance of names and the importance of how someone views themselves and the name they take for themselves is littered literally everywhere in my D&D setting. And then they fucking made me a wizard tradition that is that. Mm-hmm. That none of my players, in a world where there is so much to do with like true names and the name of concepts and stuff like that in high level, very esoteric magic, that none of you fuckers is playing an Onomancer really is sad.
It just came out like 4 months ago.
It came out after all the players had their characters already. And it's far too late for me to intentionally kill one so that one of you plays an Onomancer. Too late for that.
I'll learn your name. I would like to use the name learning feature against the DM.
Dun dun. But yeah, it's really fucking cool. It's an idea I really genuinely love in magic systems.
I think they implemented it really gracefully, because the big trick there is, okay, here's your subclass, here's all this cool shit you can do, but it's built around the concept that you have to learn this person's name. How are you going to do that? Second level, built-in feature, take your action, give name.
Give name.
And that's awesome. Because what would a wizard who is building their entire repertoire around knowing a true name do out the gate? I better learn some true names.
Yeah, and it's, for me, it is a little undertuned only because I like true naming so much that I'm like, no, you should be able to do more. And then the DM in my brain speaks up in the back of my head and goes, no, dumbass, no, they shouldn't.
I think through the resonance, which are kind of like the sorcerer meta magic-y stuff, I think you can do some good shit. You can. I would
like at least one more beneficial option.
Sure.
I would like at least one more option to help someone with their true name, as opposed to just mostly antagonistic options.
Well, I mean, that's wizards in general.
Yeah, same. I mean, I totally agree, but just for me, for my own personal preference for how much I love this concept in Magic, I'd like at least one more option that's beneficial.
Well, I mean, that's a good in-game reward for an Onomancer you're playing.
And also sympathy. Literally sympathetic magic is one of their features. Oh, just delicious. Delicious. Not wizardous wizard, but I could play the Sparrowhawk, and I'm having a good day.
It's another solid arcane tradition. Let's move on to another arcane tradition of psionic.
This is just good.
I think it's a little too good.
Yeah, it's overtuned.
Honestly,
let's be clear. This is overtuned.
I would do one thing to fix it, and that's make its what the fuck is it called?
Thought form.
Thought form. Yeah, once per long rest instead of your intelligence times per long rest.
Maybe once a short rest. Maybe
short rest. That's okay too. I could live with that too. But like 5 times, I get what you're going. You're cribbing off barbarian rage, but what they do is so strong. You just cast spells without components. In general, I think priced ones are still necessary.
Priced material components is the only thing left.
But like that's easy, and you get all those damage resistance to psychic damage. That's so good.
It's real fucking good, my dude. I ain't burying the lead on this one, homie. This is good.
Re-rolling ones on psychic and force damage, which are already...
That plus the thing that boosts psychic damage.
Yeah.
Like, that's where it's overtuned. Just the re-rolling ones would be fine.
Well, shit, dude. That's second level. You get to re-roll ones on psychic and force damage. Mm-hmm. Take that feat that gives you a spell from another class. Grab the warlock cantrip. Pew, pew.
It's only on wizard spells.
Does it say only on wizard spells?
It does. Okay. So you would only want... you would need a way to get a force damage cantrip that is a wizard spell.
Sure.
There are some ways to do that, but you'd have to finagle.
Yeah. You do still have magic missile, and that's a force damage first level spell.
Yeah, and that's actually kind of better because you only get to reroll it once, but magic missile doesn't miss.
Right.
And it's only a D4. So rerolling ones on a D4 is a significant statistical advantage.
And I mean, synaptic static and disintegrate And once you get higher levels,
God.
you're just destroying shit.
And even magic missile, like your magic missile as a psionic wizard is beef. It is beef. I really like it.
Yeah, A+. Powerful as fuck.
It is a good mixture of psionic and wizard. It is a good way of doing that.
Mm-hmm. Without creating a whole separate spell list and shit like that. I think it's a really cool thing.
Yep.
And you get to fly at 14th level, and that's
cool.
People like that.
People love that. There's so many fucking spell lists.
But you know what? If I'm being a psionic wizard,
I want to be able to...
I want to be
I want to be the Homo Superior.
Yeah.
I want to be able to just... Look upon me, tiny mortals.
All right, 3 more to go, excuse me. Thurgy, I don't have a lot to say about this.
It's just the Mystic Theurge.
It's your Divine Wizard. You can cast some cleric spells.
It's the wizard version of Divine Soul Sorcerer.
Yep.
It's good.
I like their Divine Arcana that add +2 to a spell's attack roll or saving throw. That's really classy.
Yeah, in the same way, Divine Soul Sorcerer, Theurge Wizard, Life Domain. There you go. Now you don't need a healer. You have one. It's the wizard. And as someone who has in previous versions of a fantasy world really chafed at the idea that wizards can't cast healing magic, this is nice. And
and it was an early subclass option they gave, and that's really nice.
I like that it's specifically like there are gods of magic. These are the guys who serve gods of magic. Those guys have clerics too, but sometimes it's be a wizard and I'll give you cleric stuff. Notably, their 14th level feature is they get the 17th level feature from Cleric, which is dirty. I like it. It even specifically mentions your deep study has allowed you to learn this before the Clerics. Lol.
I'm sure the Clerics love that.
I mean, they get the Cleric chassis, so I don't want to hear
Yeah, that's fine. They're wearing heavy armor out the gate going, fuck with me. Transmutation. Not necessarily what I would have done specifically. As you know, I would have revolved this entire class around turning people into stone, turning that stone into mud, and then turning the mud back into rock, and then turning that rock back into people.
To make flesh puddles.
But
this is you're playing a fucking... When I was a teenager, someone once made me a bespoke, like a custom Full Metal Alchemist style alchemist class. I love that. This is like a balanced version of that. You make a Philosopher's Stone, and you do shit with that.
I like that they call it a transmutation stone, which allows the Philosopher's Stone to be like an item
to be
in your game.
The best transmutation stone. And if you're playing a transmutation wizard, if one of your players is a DM, if one of my players is playing a transmutation wizard,
I mean, yeah,
they're gonna be looking for the Philosopher's Stone.
Hell yeah, my dude. I recently on the DM Reddit, I forget the name of it off the top of my head.
DM Academy.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you. Somebody mentioned making note cards, and each note card has a little lore bit about your world, and having players with higher intelligence or wisdom or from certain backgrounds, and just giving them a card at the beginning of the game. And if you've got a transmutation wizard, their note card, one of them that they get would be, "There's a Philosopher's Stone."
Legend tells of a mighty transmutation wizard who made a transmutation stone above all others, the Philosopher's Stone. And then the person playing the transmutation wizard already goes, yo!
Yeah, good stuff. And our last arcane tradition is war magic. I've seen this one played up to about 9th level. It's pretty good.
It scales well.
Does it?
It scales well. It works well. The power surge is a little undertuned, but not bad. And an excellent mechanic to mix our abjuration and evocation, which is what the idea is.
Yes.
You're a war mage. Their defensive mechanics, however, bear special mention for being very fun to actually play with. Even as a DM, watching someone throw up the fucking Doctor Strange mandala to stop an incoming axe is just good.
And I mentioned here in my notes, you do kind of have to have a DM who's willing to play ball to give you opportunities to build surges, because you can only do that by casting counterspell and dispel magic, other than sleeping.
So, and you only get one from there.
Yeah.
So, you need to have a DM who's willing to throw enemy spellcasters at you.
In that sense as well, Deflecting Shroud, for being such a late feature, it reads as lame because there's a lot of other spell effects that do similar shit that are lame that we've categorized as being a little undertuned. But there's two things about it. One, it's force damage. Two, it's free damage.
Yeah, it's force damage, so almost nothing's going to resist it. Actually, no, I've looked into this. Literally nothing resists it. And it literally just happens when you use your deflecting shroud.
Which is your core thingy, so you're going to be using it. It's free real estate.
Yeah, just your arcane deflection, you get free force damage to things trying to fight you. Delicious.
Yeah,
excellent.
It's nice. So let's get into the fluffier part of these podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
What was your favorite subclass, my guy?
Like, for what? That's the question. Favorite subclass to do what with? If we're talking about what is my favorite subclass for, like, to be a wizard, it's lore. It's gotta be lore. Lore is wizard. It's so good. But I love so many of these. I really like War Magic. I really like Theurge. I really like Psionic. And I want to play a Bladesinger.
Yeah, Bladesingers are cool.
But for being a wizard, lore.
Lore is my favorite. Not just for embodying that trope, but just for y'all know me, I like options. My favorite genre of video game is character creation. And if you're giving me the ability to customize shit above and beyond that, you're letting me throw out, the crazy shit. I'm going to use, man, just to be cool about it, just to stunt on a motherfucker, I'm going to use, powerful ass spells that do weird ass damage. You can't switch force, so I can't make like disintegrate into fire just to be like, oh yeah, the worst damage from the best, but I still killed you. But
you ever just make your damage worse to flex on someone?
And you can just do such creative stuff. It lets me engage with like building magic, and like Fireball's the one you jump to because that's the wizard spell. If you're playing a lizard, you could use acid ball.
Lizard
Wizard is the shit.
But yeah, no, you jump to Fireball because that is the archetypal damage spell.
But like Lightning Bolt, man.
Lightning Bolt, but instead it does thunder damage.
Hell yeah, just knocking people around. Or just the ideas.
That's Forzare. That's a Dresden File spell.
There you go. It's wind now.
Ventus Servitus, get fucked.
Yeah, there's just so many cool options in it. I really like it. I like Bladesinger as well. It's a good honorable mention. And Divination Wizard is that's my Jimmy Jam. I have loved playing support characters so much so far in 5th edition.
It's really fun.
Yeah, they give you so many options to be helpful without necessarily dealing damage. And I, as a player who often feels like he rolls crap.
Although we've statistically proven that's not true.
Statistically, I'm just fine. It's nice to just be able to have that flexibility to go, no, this is the moment where I really wanted to roll good. I want to roll good. Or, in another sense, oh man, I know he was really looking forward to using that big high-level spell. You know what? He failed that save. It's fine.
He failed it. Guess what, asshole? He failed that save.
Yeah,
fuck you.
That was for you, my brother. Just doing that shit feels so good.
Yeah, it does, and I like Divination as well, but it's like in the end, it's not close.
No, those are honorable mentions. It's lore. What about your least favorite?
I can't say Invention because it's probably it's not underpowered, but it's the one that is the most weird and not fitting. But I can't say it because it's a bunch of good ideas that ultimately got used better later for the most part. Probably Illusion.
Yeah.
It's undertuned. It's on an undertuned class of spells. I don't like illusions that much anyway as a player because I have no mechanical incentive to use them, and they suck. So it's probably Illusion.
I'm gonna go with you on that one. I think Necromancer's first, but I also had Invention written down, and on reflection, as fucking specific as it is, it's fine.
It's fine. Its power level's fine. It's bad thematics, but like at the end of the day, I can only take so much off for that.
Yeah. So an Illusion is just like compared to Enchantment Wizard, which
I would never use, but is good.
I probably wouldn't, but I could theoretically think of situations in which I might. It's okay. It does what it's supposed to do really well, actually. Necromancer and Illusion, not so much. Necromancer is a version, and it's not even like the best version of what it's trying to be. So, That's how I feel. How would you subvert a wizard, my guy?
Playing a blade singer.
Yeah, playing a blade singer. That's pretty.
That's how I would. Right now, that's how I'd subvert a wizard. Is I would pick wizard, pick blade singer, and I would play a blade singer. Like I've already played a Theurge. I'm playing a divine soul sorcerer now. It's not that different.
No.
But I would play a blade singer. I would do like a DnD version of one of my old Dragon Age Arcane Warriors. I have a couple.
Yeah, sure.
Probably the most recent one, because unfortunately this character would have to be balanced. But like, that's probably what I would do. It's someone who is good at magic, but ultimately will pick up a sword and fuck you. That's how I would subvert it, personally.
I have 1 million ideas for wizards.
Yes, you do. And every time there's a new wizard, he gets another 5 ideas for wizards. There's clown wizard.
There's self-replicating.
There's goblin wizard. There's bug wizard.
Bug wizard is the one I'm going to mention here right now because it gets to be a lore wizard, and that's what I like. The spells aren't spells so much as they're buggies we brew up in our little bug womb. And
he's playing Devora.
I'm playing Wizard Devora. Devora is very much a melee fighter. I am not about that shit. I am going to drop acid bombs on your face. I am going to use grease and guess where it came from. I want people to be upset at me playing this character. Like why? All right, I'm going to cast a spell. All right, and a little fat maggot boy is going to crawl over to you. He's my baby, and I love him, but he's going to blow up.
He's going to blow up in a gout of lightning. What? Why does that makes no sense? Too bad, asshole.
It was the crawling. It created static.
And he's fuzzy. He's fuzzy, and he inches across the floor building up static electricity, and then he zaps you. I made a charge bug, and he's my baby.
Yeah, that's how I'd subvert wizard. But there's 1,000 ways I could. It's so much fun. Once you take off the breaks that spells have to be spells, allow the mechanics to function as mechanics function.
Verbal, somatic, material.
Exactly.
Fine.
Sure.
But they don't have to be. You don't have to put on your robe and wizard's hat.
Yeah. You don't have to say Fortana, Forndigumar.
You just have to have the mechanics however you want to fluff them. And once you take those breaks off, subverting wizard is cake.
Yeah.
Like, as a blade singer, I probably wouldn't be casting spells. This is something I've done as a DM. I've never made one of my wizards, and I have a player who's played 3 wizards who have all taken advantage of this. None of them have a spell book.
Right.
They have a spell book mechanic that they use some other way. Either one very early in an earlier setting used, like, knotted ropes tied in very specific ways to remember as the mnemonic device, with like very expensive rope and dipped in very expensive incense and stuff like that. One guy used like inscriptions on a staff or on like a rod he had and stuff like that. Like, they don't have to have a spell book. It has to have a spell book mechanic, but there's no reason that your personal like crazy reality-breaking academic has to be a man carrying a big fucking tome on his back or rise with a big scroll. He can be someone who like carries around specifically carved like little fidget spinners, essentially.
I mean, you could play like a very Norse one, and you can cast runes, and that's
how
you
can
do
have
magic.
like a box full of rune tablets, and your somatic component is you bring out one of the little rune tablets and you snap it, and that casts the spell.
Sure.
That's fine. Once you take the brakes off that shit, subverting wizard is cake. My
divination wizard that I run for used to be a bard. We changed class because if you're not prepared for bard will disappoint you. So basically she just saw there were other spells and went, oh!
She got to the level of bard where you get to pick spells from other classes, and then she read the other class's spell list and went, well, this is babies, I want these!
And I don't blame her. I want to play a bard really bad.
But you have to be, you want to play a bard for the features, not the spell list.
I want
to
play
spell
a
list
bard
is garbage.
to play a bard. I want to hand out inspiration, and I want to do all kinds of
you
cool
don't
shit.
play bard for the spell list.
No. They got some good spells, though.
They do, but not many.
So, but we wanted to keep all that flavor. So, instead of a spell book, it's a song book. It's even a small change.
And her, instead of being a wand or an orb or whatever, her arcane focus is her fucking guitar. And then it gently weeps, and then everyone dies.
Yeah. You can just do so much fun stuff.
She shoots disintegrate spells out the end of the guitar.
Yes, she most definitely does. Yeah, it's Wizard's cool. Wizard is one of the classes you can play with the most.
It is by its nature incredibly flexible.
Yeah. How would you play this? That's the last one. Like, you gotta play a wizard. I'm starting a new campaign. I'm sorry about the old campaign. You gotta play a wizard, though. What's your plan?
I just played an arcane spellcaster. So I probably wouldn't play wizard because I just played an arcane spellcaster who has to do a whole bunch of complex shit on his turn.
Go with your Bladesinger.
I'd probably go with the Bladesinger.
Okay.
As much as I love Lore Wizard, I literally have just played 14 levels of Sorcerer, and I have been using the meta magic, so I want to do something slightly simpler. Turn on my fuck you aura, grab my sword, let's go! Let's rock!
Oh my god.
Especially if that comes with a fixed True Strike.
20th level of Capstone for Wizard is stupid. In fact... you wouldn't be able to get a 9th level spell, but get to level 3 fighter and get Arcane Warrior or whatever the fuck it's called. Get that summonable weapon. That'd be the shit.
Yeah.
For your Bladesinger. That'd be awesome.
You would miss out on 9th level spells as if those are ever going to happen in a campaign you DM ever again.
Jesus. I mean, I'd hand you a 9th level spell before I got you to level 17.
It would just be like, you get a 9th level spell. Please leave me alone.
I just want to balance. I want to use monsters other than... All right, well, today we're fighting double Cthulhu. That is 2 Cthulhus taped together.
He will last 6 rounds.
He will, if I'm lucky, if he's got minions.
3 rounds per Cthulhu.
Oh, shit.
Hashtag 3 rounds per Cthulhu. I feel like...
5th edition in a nutshell.
The opposite problem of 4th edition, where high-level combat took 19 hours.
Low-level combat took 16.
5th edition. It's your level 15? Okay, well, the boss is that he's just gonna preemptively have died, and he's just gonna save you the time.
I criticize it, but that's like exactly what my game does.
That's what high level D&D is for.
Yeah, and that's the way this game is designed. It's fine.
Someone who I play with, one of the players I have, made a very cogent observation that he apparently got from somewhere on the internet. I'm not sure where. In high level D&D, combat doesn't exist to be the challenge. Combat is a delaying tactic. The challenge, the real meat and bones of it, is the decisions the players have to make that affect the world once they get to high level. Because once you're a high level D&D character, you are affecting the world. You are one of a very select group of people who can fuck up entire armies. So you have narrative weight that affects the world. The decisions you make are the real meat and potatoes. Combat is to give you consequences and delays for those decisions. You're supposed to beat ass.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, as a DM, that's what I'm trying to help you guys do.
Yeah, you're the face. Cool, I'm the heel. Yep. You look. I'm gonna bust a heat on you. Like I'm gonna lay some into you, and you're gonna have to bust a comeback. But like at the end of the day, you're going over.
Yeah. To turn that around, how would I play this right now? There's too many fucking options. I've got so many ideas. I could play Bug Wizard. And Bug Wizard was what I wanted to do for a long time, but I mean, she's there now, and I do have other ideas, though. I kind of am in love with the idea of playing a very traditional wizard. I've wanted to do this in the past before, and it's never really gotten off.
It's usually attached to a dwarf is how you tend to...
You know, I kind of moved away from that because I either watched somebody else... roommate Ben, who was on the podcast previously. You remember the Step by Steam releases now with more Ben. He played a really cool dwarf wizard, and like that shot it out of my system. I was like, cool,
I've seen it. It's good.
That was really great job.
But it's just a very traditional, like fucking Dumbledore.
That or like a younger wizard, like
Hermione.
Not that young.
Like end of the series.
Sure, I guess. Just someone who's prepared and ready and a little mysterious and a little weird. young Dumbledore.
Oh, the Dumbledore in the new movies.
I don't know him.
You want to play Jude Law Dumbledore?
Sure. Does he hang out with Sherlock Holmes? Does he hang out with Robert Downey Jr.? Is he hanging out with a fucking invention wizard?
For his sake, I hope not.
All right. Well, the podcast is really long, so say the words that end the podcast, please.
Everything's better when nerds talk about it. Fuck it.